Hello again, it's Tony Evans, and we're about to undertake our second episode of the Reform Party of Australia, some of their strategies and policies. Now, if you saw my first video, we mentioned that we wanted to make changes and that we want to make major changes. Reason being, I think myself, like a lot of other people, and what we're hearing on the news, especially on the Sky Channel, they really have no faith whatsoever in Anthony Albanese. I don't think he's a stupid person, but I think he's dangerous, very dangerous. And as Sky News mentioned, I think he is definitely heading this country towards communism. And is that what you really want? Well, you look around at communist countries, maybe North Korea, Russia, China even. You don't have a lot of say in your own life's future. But maybe some people want that, I don't know. But certainly I don't, and there's a lot like me that don't want it. So why the Reform Party? Reform Party is going to really change things away from dictatorships. And dictatorships not only on a federal basis, but on a state basis, Australia-wide. We will then sort of go ahead and not only just say what we're going to do, we're going to also say why we're going to do it and how we're going to do it. Now, not many political parties do that. They just sit there, tell lies, make promises that they never keep, bribe and whatever. Now, as I did mention in my last video, we want to do away with state parliaments. That is a lot of our problems. Land in each state being sold off to foreign investment, not just land, businesses, agriculture, mining. We won't have much Australia if we carry on like this, and these tin gods can do what they please. So yes, we want to get rid of state governments, not the states. We need administration in each state to make sure that things generally are covered, but we also need to save money. So by getting rid of state governments, what are we saving? We're saving hundreds of millions of dollars in every state and probably territory every single year. Now, that's a lot of savings. We also mentioned last time that we would look at slightly changing the tax burden and put a little bit more, I won't say pressure, but I believe if a company makes money in Australia, they should pay tax in Australia. What are they doing at the moment? They are paying little or no tax, but they're spending more on tax, lessening tax evasion, whatever you want to call it, setting up overseas companies that have to pay for administrators and solicitors and accountants. It's probably costing them more than what we have in mind for tax now. So we have an idea of a tiered system starting from as little as 7.5% on net turnover. Now that keeps, shall we say, an eye on inflation, So basically every time something goes up, more money comes into government coffers, and the government is able then to assist or reduce fees and charges in other directions. So by doing this, what we want to do, and we really want to encourage business. So you may think, well, look, by adding this tax, it's not going to encourage any business. Well, look, we've tried to look at all parts of this scenario. So what we have is, yes, those companies will be paying a bit of tax in Australia, probably no more than what they're paying now in other fees and charges. That we intend, with money that we get in savings and additional taxes, is to eventually make sure that every worker in Australia does not pay tax on under $1,000 a week. So that gives you a little bit more money in your pocket, everyone, so that they can spend with those companies that we anticipate it will actually, in the long term, help companies and not hinder them. And with this scheme that we have in mind to also help these companies who may think they are being hard done by, is to give tax concessions to working Australians, which will save those companies having to give large increases in salaries. So we're saving them money on one side, although they're paying a bit of tax. Now, what are we going to do with the additional money? And we're talking about serious money, probably billions in total. First of all, and today, we're going to just go into housing, which is a major problem. We'll go into other items in future videos. So what we're going to do, and we need, shall we say, teamwork here. So it's not just federal. So if we do away with state governments who are, shall we say, taking out more than they're putting into the system, we can help local councils to pick up where sort of housing shortages exist. Now, what better than a local council? They know what is needed in their areas. They can build the type of property that is needed. We can assist those councils. Every council that becomes part of our party will be audited. So we don't want, whether they be federal or state, we don't want anyone wasting taxpayers' money. There's been enough of that in the past. With each council, what we intend to do, where a lot of councils now have tried to sidestep housing, and in a lot of cases, these councils have even done away with their own housing departments, giving them out to housing associations to do the work for them. Well, that is not good enough. We need councils actively working for Australians to find housing for them. And if we do it on a local basis, we know houses are going to be built where they're needed. So we would suggest something on the lines of a real estate office in each council. So not only do they let properties out, they actively seek in purchasing or buying, coordinating with the state. To liaise with state administration to sort out land that is possibly suitable for building new property. And we don't mean by this undermining any other private real estate businesses, but we need to get people into some sort of accommodation. Some of that temporary accommodation may be in things like motorhome parks, caravan parks, or probably more suitable would be a chalet or modular home type property as temporary accommodation run by councils, and to help initially with the housing crisis. We then start looking in further to transfer them out of these temporary things into houses that are either for sale on the open market, houses that have been left abandoned through one reason or another and can be fairly easily put back into a good living condition. So there are a number of things, and with each separate council working throughout Australia, we should hope to solve some of these problems fairly quickly. Rather than, say, a Prime Minister saying we're going to build so many thousands of houses within the next so many years and just lying to our faces, we've really got to do something about it and do something positive about it. So that is one of our main policies that we would push. So, but what we do, we can't do this on our own, and we don't know all of the answers, and we never will. But together, we can find answers to most things. We've got to look at jobs, and it's no good us sending our kids to colleges and universities if there's no jobs at the end of it. They end up the saying goes, a checkout chick, because those jobs are disappearing quicker than anything. We need to build infrastructure to suit Australia. We've got a lot of water in the northern parts of Australia. We've got to get some of that water heading southwards. And we've got to make what is now very marginal land into good agricultural land. And we can do that. We need pumping stations, and whether those pumping stations are worked on solar power or wind turbines. Look, we've got people coming out of university with brains who can work these things out. Then we have other people who can actually physically do the work. We've got to find jobs, and we've got to find jobs that help us solve our economical problems. It's no good, as the current governments seem to do, just employ government workers just to keep the figures looking good. We need people working that are producing something that we will get something as a country, and as Australian people, we will get satisfaction at the end of the day. So with working situation, we will encourage small businesses to start up, and we are pretty good in modern technology. Let us try and build on that. I mean, we've lost things like our motor industry because we priced ourselves out of the market. So we've got to be competitive in what we do. We've got to be smart in what we do. So we've really got to put our heads together and try to get products that not only can we sell here in Australia, but we can send to other countries. I believe there's one company at the moment that are making military vehicles that are very, very successful. Well, you know, maybe that's just the start. There's plenty of other things that we can do. So we've got to think positively. We've got to look and help future generations. I heard not so long ago a young lady talking on the internet saying that most parliamentarians, or a lot of parliamentarians, are ruled by people with grey hair. Yeah, I'm sorry to say, yes, I got to admit that fact, but I do have a secret, and my secret is I'm only old on the outside. On the inside, I'm still young, and I realise that we've got to help young people, and we will do everything. We're not just going to sit back and let things happen. We're not going to head towards communism. We've got to be smart about how many properties we're selling to overseas people and companies, and let's think about Australia and Australians, because at the moment our parliamentarians only think about themselves. So I won't go any further now. I won't bore you any further today. Hopefully I'll get better at this as time goes by. So don't forget, the Reform Party of Australia is an answer, and a good answer, for forward thinking and taking Australia into the future successfully. But we do need your help. You are the only ones that can really get this off the ground. So do something about it, write to us, and hopefully give us some of your spare time, give us some of your thoughts and your ideas. You can see how good I am at doing videos, but hopefully you can do better than me. I'll sign off for now. Thank you very much indeed. For more information, just go to info@reformpartyofaustralia.com.au. Thanks very much indeed, and I'll catch up with you next time.